Yeah, what's up? Good morning, everybody. I'm like, ooh, I did not get good sleep last night. Let's just say that. But what's good, everybody? Welcome. I'm not gonna take too much time today, but I just did want to hang out for a little bit, just kind of talk with everybody, just chill. This morning, yes, as the title implies, we're gonna be talking about LG. LG has left the building, and it's really it's really sad for me to say it in that light, because yes, over the years, LG hasn't really marketed itself to be very competitive. Their aggression in the market game, it went down. What's up, Mill Hustles? Going on. Yeah, it's a sad day. It is, because I don't think that there are people who grasp the severity of losing LG in this market space. While those people who never really like LG are celebrating, they're talking about like LG sucks and all these different things, you kind of forget that the less you have in a competitive race, the less innovation, the less options there will be, right? I mean, the outside of iOS, which is Android, one of the pride about Android is options, right? Android open source, so OEMs can do as they please with the Android software. And you pretty much had your options. You can go Samsung, you can go LG, you can go Motorola, you could go Kyocera. I mean, when you look at it today, it's not really that anymore. You don't see that competitiveness anymore. I have no idea what their profit and loss is, but they sell a ton of budget devices. Looking in hindsight, I wonder what would have happened if they stuck to selling budget devices, especially here in the US. Who knows? I mean, really, in the budget scene, it was really more of like LG versus Motorola, right? Like Motorola hasn't even really put out a decent flagship in a couple of years. I mean, the closest thing that, some would say to it would be like the Motorola Ace 5G. I don't even know if I would classify that as like, flagship. But, Motorola came out with, with the Moto G stylus, and then a second variation of it this year, 2021, the Moto G stylus 2021. You have the Moto G Power. These devices were mid-range budget. On the LG side, you had the LG Velvet. That's pretty much it. You had like the LG K series, a couple of those, but they weren't really marketed all that well. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thought. What if LG just stuck to it? Stuck to the budget division, the mid range budget division, and just went there. I mean, to a lot of people, the LG Velvet was a sign of the worst things to come for LG. It was the LG Velvet, literally spec nearly the same as the Pixel 5. Well, not nearly, but just in the fact that they opted for a 700 series Snapdragon chipset rather than going with an 800 series chip in the Velvet. But a lot of people had said that the Velvet is actually pretty good. Those people that actually ended up getting one. I think it was a longtime person that used to be on these live streams here watching. Her name was Kathy, and very nice lady. Just want to say to Kathy that we miss you here. Hopefully we see you again on YouTube. But she got the LG Velvet and she was loving the phone. That's somebody that I trust to get their opinion on the LG Velvet. And yeah, man, it's just, I don't know. I'm still baffled because right here in the US, we have our perception of these companies, right? We have our perception of Samsung, we have our perception of LG. And that perception that's casted quite a bit. People look at it like Samsung is like the very, very top end, and LG is like the copycat, always behind them 2 steps in the shadow. But that's not the case if you were to go to South Korea. That's not the case. LG is really huge out there. Really huge. And one of the things that I like about LG is that they're a huge company, but they also tend to show their quirky sides of things, right? Like you look at the LG Wing and you say to yourself, that's a bit weird, a swiveled screen, T-shaped, like no one's doing that. No, Samsung has their Fold, and but no one was doing the swivel display. But you even look back before that, and this is the reason why for this live stream, the thumbnail I used the LG Aka for the thumbnail, because when I think LG, I remember to the time of the LG Aka. It never made its way to the United States, and I'm sure if you got one imported in, it wouldn't work on any of the carriers, hardly, because maybe it doesn't support the same bands that the carriers have here. Maybe it would work, but it wouldn't work to like 100%, high performance capacity with network connectivity, just because of the different bands that they use in South Korea versus what we use here in the United States. But I always wanted one of those. It was crazy just to see the LG Aka and like what LG was trying to do with it, and really was different from what a lot of other companies were doing, right? Like a lot of companies were just more interested in pumping out a phone, maybe a slight change here, maybe a front-facing flash, those types of things. And LG's like, yeah, we're gonna put one out. It's gonna come with the little action figure thing. Your phone's gonna have personality. When you dock it into the front sleeve, you're going to see these eyes pop up on the top of the display, and the eyes will tell you if your phone is dying, because if the eyes look sleepy, obviously that means that your battery's running low. Well, when you charge it up and it's like 100% capacity, you'll see the eyes of the character. There's like 4 characters, right? Like Yo-Yo and Soul, Eggy. I forgot what the other one's name is. But yeah, I mean, no one was doing that. No company was doing that. It was weird. But at the same time too, it was like, I mean, at least for me, I can kind of see the humor and all that and what they were initially trying to do. You go to Japan, you go to South Korea, you go to these Asian countries, and the culture and lifestyle is different. So something like that from LG is not looked upon as embarrassing. It's looked upon as fun. And sadly, we have our perceptions here in the US, and so I guess with LG and the way that they looked at it, they figured that phone wouldn't sell here. Like it wouldn't, like kids here would be interested in it, but the adults wouldn't be. You know, it would be too embarrassing to rock a phone like that. And I don't know. I really wish things weren't like that. I really wish the phone made its way here to the U.S. I mean, you think back on all the phones that LG has pumped out from back in the day. I mean, we're talking the Optimus series. That was like a mid-range budget series, the LG Optimus. I mean, you had the LG Optimus V on Virgin Mobile. I had one of those. I had the LG Optimus Slide. There was the LG Optimus F3. There was the LG Optimus Elite. You kind of think about those days with that. Even when LG started shifting track a little bit and focusing on their flagship, and they had like, you know, the LG G series, right? You know, and of course their quirky idea of placing the volume button and power button on the back of the phone. That was another thing too. It didn't catch on. Other brands didn't copy them, but there were those people who used LG devices and actually thought that was a great place to place it, because you're holding your phone and your fingers naturally resting back here, so controlling the volume down, volume up, and in the center of it is power button. You know, it worked for some people. Yes, I brought out my Nexus 4, which was made by LG. Also, the Nexus 5X, which was made by LG. And the very last collaboration with Google, the Pixel 2 XL. I think that time was crazy, because you got the XL model. This was done by LG. The smaller size model was done with the HTC development team. LG Curve, weird looking, great performer. Yes, the LG G Flex and the G Flex 2 were also interesting and unique phones. And I think it was the LG G Flex 2 had the self-healing back. So like if you took a knife and you purposely cut the back of the G Flex, then yeah, the scratch wasn't going to go away. But if you got like little micro scratches from like having your keys in your pocket with your phone, apparently the back was able to self-heal or like self-hide these scratches, so they weren't so noticeable. You know, the smaller details like that, I think people forgot just how invested LG was in the smartphone game. They tend to forget, you know, some of the things that LG brought to the game. Like even the LG G8 was a very underrated phone. I mean, people looked at the unlock capabilities of that phone to unlock by reading your veins in your hand, your blood vessels, your veins and stuff. What's up, Isaac? And that was a totally different type of biometric security, right? Because the normal is your fingerprint. And the fingerprint's been used for a long time. It's still used today. It's still, because of today and the fact that we wear masks and stuff like that, the fingerprint sensor is, you know, the more optimal choice if you want to unlock your phone quickly. Now, you know, of course, face recognition came into play, but that was able to be duped with a photo. You know, like Motorola would tout that they had face recognition unlock. But that only just really like look for your face. You can hold a photo. You can hold one phone up with your photo to the phone, and it would unlock. You know, the only one I really actually did a 3D map of your face was the iPhone with Face ID. Later on, the Pixel 4 with its sensors did the same thing. So LG and the G8 using the vessels and veins in your hands to identify who you are just by holding your hand up to it, unlocked it. That was a crazy idea. And it would work because the veins and stuff in my hand wouldn't be identical to what's in your hand. Like the patterns, the way it grew and everything, it's not identical to anybody else. So it could pass for biometric security. Do you even have to give it up to the LG Stylo series. All right, the LG Stylo series, it was a great fit into the mobile market during the time where the Galaxy Note was making a huge impact on the smartphone market, and people were just like gunning for it. People were willing to put themselves in an 18-month payment plan for the Galaxy Note or 24-month payment plan. But there were some people that was just like, I'm not going to do a payment plan, and I'm not going to spend close to $1,000. So what can I get that has a stylus for me to use with the phone instead of having to go purchase one from a Walgreens or a CVS or anything like that? And LG came out with the G Stylo. In Korea, it's the LG Stylus. Here in the US, it's called a Stylo. And I remember when that phone hit the market, and I was like, my mentality was like, I gotta have one. But it wasn't for YouTube views. It wasn't to unbox on YouTube. It just, I thought the phone looked pretty badass, and I wanted one. Even though Boost Mobile only had the 8 gig variant and Metro got the 16 gig variant, you know, that still didn't stop me from wanting to get it. And I was with Boost Mobile, and Boost Mobile worked for me, so I got the Stylo. And you know, with the help, I forgot what his channel is called now. He changed the name of his channel, but he used to kind of talk about mobile tech too. And you know, he and I would do research on like how to modify the LG G Stylo. We found a way to root it. We found a way to open up adaptable storage and all kinds of stuff. Like we did a lot of work on the G Stylo, and but the G Stylo filled that void for a lot of people. A lot of people that didn't want to go with the Galaxy Note because it was too expensive. And even though it didn't have the exact you know, like the S Pen features, you still had some features you can play around with on the Stylo. You know, the pen pop. Like when you pull the stylus out of the Stylo, a little side menu would pop up, and you would have all these different things that you could do with it, which was very similar to what you could do with the original Galaxy Note. You know, it wasn't until the further iterations of the Galaxy Note series is when they started like bringing stuff with the S Pen, like the click button on the S Pen and all that stuff. So you could say like the G Stylo was very comparable to the very first Galaxy Note, where you can do notes and stuff like that, screenshot, and then draw on your screenshot, do edits or whatever, take notes with a little notepad. There is a lot you can do. One of my favorite things to do with the Stylo series was there was a game that I would play a lot on the Nintendo DS, and eventually that game was ported over for Android phones, and the name of the game, laugh if you will, was Cooking Mama. And it was a fun little quirky game, and you would like cook these meals, but you would have to like, you know, prep the food, cut up the meats or the veggies or whatever. You have to cook it in a frying pan, and your goal was to hit as perfect as you could prepping the meal and cooking the meal without butchering the ingredients or burning the meal when you're cooking it. And the Stylo made it really fun to play that game because you use the Stylo for the different tasks you had to do in your steps to, you know, creating this meal that you're going to cook. And very similar to like the DS with the DS stylus. I mean, you use the stylus on the DS to play that game. So you could do that with the G Stylo, you know, with the stylus. It was really fun to play it on there. I had no problems playing Cooking Mama on my G Stylo. The G Stylo 2, you know, changed a little bit of the dynamics and went for, you know, thinner body style, but it still kept that volume rocker power button on the back. I believe it was the Stylo 3 that introduced biometric. I think it was, and I think it was in the Stylo 2 or the Stylo 2 Plus, something like that. I know there was a premium version, I think, of the Stylo 2 or Stylo 3, one of those two. I know the Style 3 more than likely had the it had the biometric fingerprint on the back, but they went away with the volume rocker slash power button combo on the back. They went back to traditions. Man, keep it real. LG is trash. You didn't even purchase an LG phone. Everybody knows it's all about Samsung and Apple. Period. Even phones you had by LG in the past didn't stay loyal. Well, that's because I'm not loyal to a brand. And I mean that your statement's like pretty subjective, man. That's your opinion on it. You know? So you feel like LG is trash, then it's trash. For you, it's okay that it's gone. Man, it's going back to it. But yeah, the Stylo line was a great filler for those that didn't want to spend a lot of money for the Galaxy Note. They can have a phone that had a stylus, and that's to be true because Motorola eventually adopted that when they came out with the Moto G stylus. So bringing a mid-ranger that had a stylus but wasn't going to break your wallet, Motorola adopted that. So there are a lot of good things that LG brought, and there was a lot of things that LG failed about. I mean, one of the big, more notable LG fails was the LG G5. And that was during the era where everyone was trying to go modular, right? When we found out about Project Aura and, Google demoed Project Aura being able to take a picture with the camera, all of a sudden modular phones just became the thing that they were trying to go towards. You had Motorola who decided to go with the Moto mods that would just snap to the back of your phone to change the dynamic of your phone. Like you had a mod for projector. You had a mod for speaker. You had a mod for additional camera. Motorola went that route, and LG tried to go modular. Theirs was a little bit different because, of course, you had to pull down. You had to pull down on the bottom. That would power off your phone because you were also disconnecting the battery. So it's not like you could have swapped mods while the phone was on. You had to actually have your phone off. We all know your J driver is an iPhone and Galaxy Ultra. So unless these trash phone companies are paying you top dollar to lie about their phones, I see you didn't go back to the Stylo because it's trash. Yeah, I didn't go back to the Stylo, but that doesn't mean it's trash. And no, I don't have a what do you call it? The what do you say? Oh, the Galaxy Ultra? No, I don't have a Samsung device. I don't use Samsung. Close, no cigar. Actually, it's Pixel 5 is what I use. And Dorian Grimes, you're very aggressive this morning. Are you sad that LG's gone and you're taking it out on the world? What's happening here? Because you're very aggressive this morning. I mean, but of course, I expected this to happen only because there's a lot of people that's talking about it. There's more YouTubers that's going to talk about LG going away, and so yeah, it's within that moment. Straight out. So, but yeah, the G5 was a total fail when it came to trying to get in on modularity, and it didn't really work out. Plus, too, the engineering on the LG G5, pretty much showed that LG's quality control kind of went downhill. You had certain G5s that when you did plug in the bottom of the phone with the battery in it, because you could also buy an extra battery. So if your battery died, you could easily pop out the battery, switch to another one, pop it in, power your phone on, and you're good. Problem was that like that bottom piece that would snap to the bottom of the phone, it wasn't lined up right. And some people were pointing out there was gaps. It was like a crooked slant of a cut. It was just very bad. And I think that was like one of the first times that I ever seen that like LG got really, really, really bad publicity. But that was at their own fault, though. When you're a company at that caliber, your quality control should be top notch. LG is not a small company. By no means is it a small company. It's been around for years. It's been around before smartphones was a thing, right? We had LG flip phones We had the LG Rumor series, which was, you know, a feature phone, slide out QWERTY keyboard. I think it was the LG Rumor, the LG Rumor 2, and then you had the LG Rumor Touch, and then there was a follow-up, I think the LG Rumor Flex that came after that. And all those were like slide out QWERTY keyboards and things like that. So the LG's been around for a long time. There should have been no reason why the G5 had these small issues. I call them small issues, but to, you know, that's subjective. To me, I consider them small issues. But somebody who's paying top dollar for a phone like that is going to count that as a very big issue. The LG Fold was trash. No update. LG seems to always be last to the plate. They had a Fold? I know the Samsung Galaxy had a Fold. I know LG doesn't really have a Fold. They have, well, I mean, they have these cases like for the LG Velvet and the V60, and you snap that into the case, and the case has a screen that's clamshelled. When you have it closed, the outer display shows the display itself. When you unfold it, it acts as a dual display. But I mean, yeah. So the G5 was just like, just wasn't on par. The G6 didn't have marketing behind it really, so we just started to see like LG slack on marketing. The G7 kind of made a small little buzz, but I think one of the biggest buzzes on the LG G7 was the fact that you know, it was on Google Fi, and that was like weird because Google Fi was starting to make its stamp in the mobile service provider space. The G7 was on there along with the V35 ThinQ. But the G6 I also felt was slightly underrated. That dual display was garbage. Okay. I mean, again, Dorian, that's subjective, and you know, I mean, if you're just here just to like constantly over and over say that LG's trash, why be here and watch? That's my question to you now. That I don't understand. But anyways, the G6 to me I thought was slightly underrated. I mean, the body style of the phone and everything and the way that it was built out, it seemed decent. LG Music was a good flip phone too. I don't even remember the LG Music. See, you're bringing up phones that I totally forgot about. Yeah, in 2004, that was way back in the day. But the G6 was, to me, I thought it was pretty nice, body style wise and everything like that. It looked appealing. There wasn't too much issues reported with the G6, but the only problem with the G6, like I said, was marketing. Marketing wasn't there. LG wasn't marketing their phones aggressively like how Samsung was. Painfully Honest Tech said this not too long ago, and I agree with him on this statement. Samsung was the only company that was willing to spend as much money to market their phones. They were the only ones to spend as much money to try and build their phones absolutely premium. It's LG, not LG, but Samsung's the only one that really kind of like kept up with Apple. Going back to work. All right, man, take it easy, man. Enjoy your day at work, bro. They were the only ones to do it. Which is the reason why, as the smartphone wars ended, the dust settles, as what Painfully Honest Tech said. While the rest of the ones are limping away from battle, the only two that's actually walking away is Apple and Samsung. But now a lot of people are afraid of like the duopoly of just Samsung and Apple. Those are the only choices, really. I mean, because like the Google Pixels, no matter like how much I cover them, and other fans of the Google Pixels cover these devices, to the masses, they look at it and they're like, it's a Google phone, and that's pretty much about it. Like, they don't know too much of what it can do or what the whole point is behind it. Because for the longest time, Samsung has always been synonymous with Android. When someone was like, what kind of phone you got? They would say, it's an Android phone. It's Samsung, but they say it's Android. On the other side, for iOS, they only have one phone. That's the iPhone. There is no Motorola phone running iOS or anything like that. So the last one standing in all this is literally Samsung and Apple. And honestly, that hurts the smartphone market to see LG go. It hurts the market because those that are not a fan of Samsung and One UI, maybe they're not a fan of, the constant different types of applications. Like with Samsung, you have Samsung Messages, you get Android Messages, you get like the Samsung, the Galaxy App Store, then you have the Play Store. And it's just, it's like, it's bloatware. And that's one of the things that people used to be so adamant about that they didn't like on any smartphone was bloatware. So there's some people that is like, okay, LG's UI has less bloatware than One UI. And they would go with LG. Even though that's in the mid-range market, in the mid-range space, they would just, it's like LG, Motorola, Kyocera, HTC. It was just like, that was the pool that you had to pick from, like mid-rangers and budgets, right? The HTC Desire, the Moto G series. You had LG with the X Power, with the X Charge, with the K series. But now that's cut away. So one of the things that I firmly believe when it comes to business, I believe that when there's less competition, everything starts to slow down because other companies are too relaxed now. Like for instance, if you go to South Korea and you look at the market over there, Samsung and LG battle for supremacy in South Korea, and LG actually is very well popular in South Korea, which is its home base. Once that's gone, which it is now, Samsung they're not going to look and think that they need to step it up a notch. In their home base, they're not really going to feel like that because there's really no major competition now. LG's gone. I mean, I'm sure there's other companies in South Korea that have never made their way to the United States. We can't just presume that all they have is LG and Samsung there. But globally, LG and Samsung is recognized, and when you have less competition, stuff slows down. Companies get too comfortable. They feel like, okay, you know what? I can take a breather. Let me relax. Let me put out this phone. I mean, like what? They're already, I read that there's a rumor leak of the Samsung Galaxy A82. I was going to get tongue-tied there. And, Samsung pretty much like trying to flood the market all the way through, right? The Galaxy S series, no Note series this year, but they said that the Note series is not done. So you have the S series this year. You have all these different variations of the A series, from like the A51, A52, A72. Then you have like the A8, the A82. And it's crazy. They're starting to take that area that LG was in for so long. But I mean, then there's no competition for anyone to really drive it. I mean, right now, as much as I like Google Pixels, I can't say that they're at that level where they're going to push any of these major companies like Apple and Samsung to have a run for its money. As a matter of fact, right now Google's in no position to even aggressively compete against Samsung, since Samsung pretty much worked with them in tandem of creating the GS101, and that is the processing chip that the Pixel 6 and I believe if it is the 6 XL are both going to have in them. So the Pixel stepping away from Qualcomm as far as for a processing chip. Samsung pretty much worked in tandem with them to help them develop their own processing chips. And Samsung has its own chip, the Exynos. Google kind of worked with them on it. So it's like you won't really see Google aggressively compete against them. And I'm pretty sure on that, because you look at the companies such as Google Fi, which is an MVNO that uses T-Mobile US Cellular, and Fi doesn't even aggressively compete against T-Mobile. But why would it? Because That is the network that provides them connectivity. I mean, you have U.S. Cellular, but U.S. Cellular is not nationwide. LG even knows when to throw in the towel. Yeah, obviously, right? But is there anything else that you can say beyond that point, or like what? What is your sole purpose? I'm giving you the floor. And I mean something real to say other than LG's trash and LG's gone and LG threw in the towel. Pristine text, sad. Same. All right, man. Peace. I don't know. I don't know if it's just like, just wanting to get a reaction out of me or whatever, but yeah, that type of stuff doesn't really bother me. It don't bother me. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. And bam, you're gone. Yeah, what's up, Gene? What's going on, man? What's up? Just a nostalgic live stream about LG. But yeah, with LG out of the picture, the Pixel is not going to contend against Samsung, since Samsung helped them a lot with their processing chip, and also with them being able to do the foldable technology with the Pixel Fold. So Motorola hasn't pumped out a flagship in a long time, in a very long time. And yeah, Huawei's out the game because of all the issues with China and the US. So what do we really have? I mean, LG, in my opinion, could have been the one that actually could have went toe to toe with these major brands. I just don't understand their reasoning behind things, why they stopped aggressively marketing their phones. Because the LG V series was decent. A lot of people like the LG V series. I mean, when the V10 first came, I was like, whoa, that's a pretty crazy phone. Of course, it had its little quirks, problems, or whatnot, but they weren't major. I think like the only complaint a lot of people had was the fingerprint sensor not working when you had the phone in the case. But if you took the phone out of the case, then the fingerprint sensor worked. So I mean, you had a V series, you had the G series. Some of the LG G phones were really good. You had the Stylo series that brought, a stylus paired with the phone form factor to a mid-range market instead of flagship like the Galaxy Note. You had the K series that, little like low-end mid-rangers to budget, kind of fulfilled that void. Is ZTE and Xiaomi banned in the US? No, they're not. At least from what I know, I haven't heard anything about them being banned. I know ZTE did for a while, only because of one of the board members and her connection with another company, something to that factor. Plus, ZTE broke some protocol or whatever. But I'm pretty sure ZTE rectified that and were reinstated for sales in the US. That's the last that I heard. For any type of ban on them, the ban got lifted. As far as Xiaomi, I don't think there's a ban on them at all. It's just they're not marketed to be sold here. So like a lot of people who do get Xiaomi phones buy it directly from the website, right? Like we don't have like T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T really doing any joint partnerships with Xiaomi to sell their phones in store. Hey Maverick, what's going on? LG will be missed. They gave consumers a third option, and now there's a duopoly between Samsung and Crapple in the smartphone market. LG and HTC, rest in peace. Yeah. Should have been here earlier where I had somebody, who was it, Dorian Grimes TV, was so mad at LG and just literally over and over commented about being trash. I gave him the ground to speak. And after that, he left, so I was like, okay, got blocked, but I gave him the ground to say what he wanted to say, and it's just over and over, LG's trash. And like with smartphones, it's subjective, and when people act that way, really just It's crazy. Why be loyal to a specific brand? You know. They also sell ZTE devices on TracFone. I mean, yeah, they do. I mean, Boost Mobile was one of the big sellers of ZTE, and so was Metro. But even then, like ZTE and all of them, they didn't have that status that LG has. Yeah, you caught the end of that. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't feed too much into that negativity or get riled up. There's no reason to, you know. But yeah, I'm just like, it is very sad. It is very sad that Samsung and Apple is pretty much it. It's pretty much it. ZTE got banned, and then the ban got lifted. So I mean, I don't know, because I know there's like Visible sells ZTE devices here in the US, like current ones, not old ones, current ones. So I mean, if there was a ban on ZTE, then Visible wouldn't have any to sell. So they were banned, and they did what was needed to be done to get the ban lifted off of them, paying their fine and changing up part of its business practice. And they were reinstated. So they're just not permanently, and they're back. So, where do we go from here now? That LG is out of the game. Where do we go from here? You know, like Maverick point out, it's Samsung and it's Apple now. You know, because HTC tried to come back with the U series, the U11. You know, they tried, but it didn't catch on. HTC had seen its better days and had to slowly walk that lonely path towards the sunset. And LG, if you want to put it in context of an analogy, LG just performed the harakiri, which is I don't know if anyone knows about, you know, the Japanese culture or anything like that, but Ronin warriors and stuff like that, samurai, when they failed at a duty that was tasked to them by the shogun, in failure, it was a move of suicide. And yeah, LG pulled the plug on itself. It's sad because, like, I mean, I brought these out here. Like, I could have gone through my storage and found the Stylo series I have. I mean, the LG Nexus, I call it the LG Nexus because it was made by LG, but the Nexus 4 made by LG. Solid phone. Yes, it's only 3G capable. But LG put some time into this. Literally put some time into this phone, but, you know, with what it had. I'm watching this on my LG G8X. I've had many LG phones. I am one of the few who realized that LG phones could do 95% of what Samsung's could do for way less of a price, and LG did some things better. Exactly, Hugo. Exactly. I agree with your statement there. Now, that was one of the things. That's one of the things about LG is that, you know, if there were things that Samsung did, you can find them within LG most of the time. And it didn't cost you so much. Or they did some things better. Didn't most LG phones boot loop though? If I remember correctly, I think I heard at some point in time I did hear about LG phones boot looping. Unfortunately, I guess I was lucky enough that with the LG devices that I have, I never gone through that problem. I know during the G Stylo, a lot of people reported boot looping on that phone, but when they communicated with me outside of YouTube, it was always they were trying to root and try to put a custom ROM on their phone. Even though there wasn't much development on the G Stylo, they tried and they ended up soft bricking their phone. So a lot of people take to social platforms and they will say things like the phone boot loops or the phone does this or does that, but they don't ever really explain if they've done anything to the phone at all to modify it. So sometimes it is exactly what they say. It just, the phone just out of nowhere just like fell into a boot loop and it's constantly going like that. But even then, LG had made it possible for people to fix that without having to send your phone to LG to have it repaired. I mean, you had... Who the heck is calling me? Ignore the call. But anyways, The you think it was the Nexus 6P? The Nexus 6P was made by Huawei. It wasn't made by LG. The Nexus 5X was made by LG, and it didn't have a boot loop issue for this one because of the way the processing chip is. So people reported that it wasn't booting on. And one of the things that they had to do was and this was really weird, but I swear this is what they did. They took a blow dryer and they heated up the back of the phone to where the processor chip is located to heat the chip up. And then when they powered the phone on, it would actually boot on. So there were those people who developed custom ROMs for the Nexus 5X. And one of the things they did was they developed a ROM and the kernel. And what it did was it shut down the two bigger cores in the processing chip. So only the 4 smaller cores were functional and the phone would boot on all the time. But of course you would lose performance and power by doing that. I've luckily never experienced that issue. This phone, I haven't modified the chip at all. So all the cores fire when I turn this phone on. As a matter of fact, I was able to flash this phone up to Android 10 and use the Nexus 5X on Android 10, which was a decent experience that I would say. But of course it is still outdated hardware, like the camera sensor and everything like that. So a lot of the things that were prevalent in Android 10 that made Android 10, good, I wasn't able to get that experience with the Nexus 5X. Let's see. I have the LG G2 and the LG V30 Plus. Both are running immaculate. The LG V30 Plus, correction. Yeah. LG wasn't horrible at all. I think some people's expectations was they looked at LG and they expected it to be exactly like Samsung. And that's one of the other things that led to LG's fall. Some people just have this idea where it's like, okay, I don't want to spend $1,200 on a Galaxy Note, but I expect the LG Stylo 4, the LG Stylo 5 to perform exactly like the Galaxy Note. And it's like, when you come in with that type of expectations, of course it's going to be a letdown. See, the thing is that LG is only good at being LG, just like Samsung is only good at being Samsung, and Pixels are only good at being Pixels, and iPhones are only good at being iPhones. When you have an expectation to try to use another brand to substitute for a brand that, let's be honest here and be straight, maybe you can't afford it, and so that's why you're not getting it. You set yourself up for disappointment when it does not perform of what you want it to. And yes, there are people who do that. They try to live their life vicariously through other things. I can't get an iPhone, so let me get something that's similar to an iPhone and expect it to behave like an iPhone, but it's not an iPhone. And it will do the same thing. I can't get a Galaxy, so let me get this LG that has the UI and everything that looks like a Samsung, and I'm gonna expect it to perform like the Samsung Galaxy. And it's like, nope. They get all disappointed. Because if people are gonna say performance is trash on LG, I mean, to a degree you can on that, because you have to look at software optimization. But if you're going to say it's 100% garbage and you're comparing it to a Samsung device that both are using the same processing chip, that's a little far-fetched, a little out of bounds, in my opinion. The only thing that would make a play is the software optimization, right? One UI, and I don't think LG had an official name for their user interface. I know at the time they were calling it UX, which stood for user experience. And like they had like the UX 5.0, UX 6. I think that's what they called it. They didn't have like an official name. Like, remember back in the day, we had TouchWiz, we had HTC Sense, we had Moto Blur. I think it kind of went away from names. But yeah, but that would be like the only thing. As far as updates for LG devices, LG played the same the same game that Samsung plays, that Motorola plays, that a lot of OEMs play. And that is, it's more lucrative for them to just make devices that have the latest version of Android and you buy them than to always, support your device for 3 years or 2 years, because they're losing money on that. Because again, Android is open source, so it's not like LG can say, okay, we have Android 11 for, the Stylo 4, pay $5.99, download and install. Like, they can't sell Android. So when it comes to the whole argument state of they lacked software updates, that's pretty much every company, but it's not because they're too lazy to do it. It's because they'll just build a newer version of the phone series and put the latest version of Android on that and say, hey, you want Android 11? You got a, hypothetically speaking, Stylo 5 that's on Android 10. Well, get the newer one that has Android 11. That's their mentality. And if anyone's going to say, well, that's messed up for LG to do it, well, then you got to say that for every other brand, because that's what they do. True, LG makes many other products. However, it's still a melancholy situation for their mobile department. It is. I mean, they're not shutting down making washers and dryers or smart TVs or any of that stuff. That's still going to go. Just their mobile phone department is done. So what does that mean for LG devices? Are they relics now? If you have an LG phone, are you going to hold on to it, make sure that it's still functional and does what it needs to do? Because I have a tablet. I have the LG G Pad 5 10.1. Do you know, or what's your opinion on if there will be good deals on LG phones now? I wouldn't mind getting the V60 if it's good enough deal, even though I love my G8X. So I think, to be honest with you, I think at this point, there's going to be some places that would probably have deals. You're really going to have to do your research on that. But I feel like that as far as if you're looking for a deal from a private seller, like on Swappa or on OfferUp or Mercari or any of those types of places, I think that people may in fact try to price gouge the hell out of LG phones, because anytime something goes away, people look at it as profit. Like, oh, LG is not making phones anymore. I got a G8. Let's say that person bought it for $600 and they traded in something, so they got $200 knocked off, so they paid $400 for it. They're gonna try to sell that phone for like $700 or $800 because they're gonna think somebody's gonna want it so bad to collect it that they're just gonna make a huge profit on it. So you're really gonna have to do your research. But yes, there's gonna be places that's trying to get rid of inventory. So you want to look at those types of places. I don't know if Fry's Electronics sells them. You can even look through like LG, their website, buy it directly from the manufacturer and see if they have some sort of closeout sale. They got to get rid of back cataloged inventory, so they could have V60s and they could be slashing prices and stuff like that to get rid of them. But private sellers, they're gonna price gouge. I mean, if you're willing to wait a couple of months until the dust settles after all this, then you may see somebody who wants to sell an LG V60 and is probably willing to sell it at a cheaper price. So for me, out of all the LG devices I've ever had, that's right, Fry's Electronics is gone. The last known LG device that I own is right here, Pixel 2 XL, the last one. Still functional, still works. Love the panda color on it and the orange power button accent. Manufactured with LG as a final partner with Google before they completely took their operations away of working with LG and HTC. Because that's the thing I always have to tell people, that Google bought a percentage of HTC's development team and brought them over to Google to help build Pixels. And for a while, they used that development team and they used LG to build Pixels. The 2XL was the very last. After that, all productions of Pixels went to Foxconn afterwards. So LG will stop making displays too. They never said nothing about stopping from making displays. I don't think they'll make displays for mobile phones because I mean, you know, they still use their display technology for their smart TVs. I don't know. I'm still hoping that this happens and something comes later on down the road, like 3 or 4 months later, that bounces LG back. I really hope a partnership venture or something. Only because, this totally sucks. Totally sucks. They're just dropping one by one, you know. Pretty soon, who knows? Maybe Lenovo might get tired and completely kill the Motorola brand. And then that's going to be out the picture. That's right. Yeah, good point, Maverick. Network carriers will be the first ones to get rid of them dirt cheap simply because they know it won't receive any more support software-wise. Yeah, I think, what was it? I was watching Painfully Honest Tech, and he said that LG would continue to support some of their LG devices they didn't specify how long. So it's up in the air for how long, but they said they will still continue to support it, but they are shutting down the division. There is no other LG phones coming this year. And it was by July, the department itself will be shut down. But they'll continue to do security patch software supports for their current ones. You can expect the LG Wing. You can expect the LG Velvet. And yeah, the latest LG devices will continue to get some sort of software support. But we can't expect them to go a year or 2 years. So that's, yeah. Sad as hell, man. Sad as hell. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna do something stupid. I was thinking about with a couple of the LG devices that I have, I was gonna buy like a giant frame. Not as big as that one, but almost to that size where I can put them in there and then, you know, they're in there. Hang them up. People look at that. What is that? That's an LG phone. I can see that like 15 years from now. What's an LG phone? Those. That's crazy. Oh, man. Crazy. What is happening to mobile tech? I think that's going to be a follow-up story that I'm going to do on a live podcast. What's happening to mobile tech? Because it is going downhill. Absolutely is going downhill. Man, I heard, if I'm correct on this, LG will still support current customers of the current devices. They'll support them, but it's not for an indefinite amount of time. They just don't have a clear date as to when they're going to stop support. But when LG has that figured out, trust me, it'll hit the news sources to tell you. If it's like they'll support these devices up until December 2021, that will come. Collector's items, LG mobile devices. Yeah. Yeah. Why not? You know. I know there's people out there that's going to refuse to stop using their LG devices, and so they're going to continue to use them. I don't know. I might hunt for an LG Velvet just to have one. I mean, Carlos unboxed one. He used one. He had some mixed reviews about it, but Kathy had good things to say about the LG Velvet. And what's her name? Akia Too Technical. Her video reviews on the LG Velvet was pretty solid. So I might grab one just to have one, use it for a while, play around with it. I don't know. Anyways, guys, that's all I really have to say on LG. Just want to tell LG thank you so much for the amazing phones that you put out throughout the years. Some of them were very underrated, and should have had, should have did more marketing behind them. But I mean, from way back in the early days, all the way up until now, before smartphones, LG phones were great. The Optimus series, awesome budget mid-rangers, and again, my favorite one was the Optimus Slide on Virgin Mobile. You have like the G series, the V series, the K series. One of my favorite powerhouse phones, the LG X Power. I'll never forget that phone. That phone was a beast when it came to battery life. The LG X Charge. Oh man. And then of course, the one phone that never came to the United States that I thought was quirky, cool looking, and would love is which I use, again, like I said, I used as a thumbnail for this video, the LG Akka. God, would I would have been super happy if it came to the US and I was able to buy one. Sure, it's quirky looking, it's got these little characters that pair with them, but I mean, you know what? It's an Asian thing. I thought it was fun little idea. It looked like the LG G2. Just it had personality to it. So yeah, we're gonna miss you, LG. Thank you so much for the great devices and the great years. Yeah, you know what I just thought about right now? If I did decide to switch away from Pixel, couldn't get me an LG flagship that would pair with my LG TV, because I have an LG Smart TV, and my tablet pairs with it. But I know my tablet's not going to get any updates anytime soon. It's pretty much going to be on what it's going to be on. So, but anyways, thank you guys for coming in and chilling out with me, hanging out. Thank you for the different perspectives and thoughts. And even shout out to Dorian Grimes TV for coming in and conveying his disgust for LG. I mean, all comments are welcome here, but yeah, LG Mobile's dead. Long live LG. So it's safe to say we can say life is good, but not for the mobile division. Y'all be cool. Take it easy. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Sorry, I'm very blasé today. It's Monday. Gur Mondays. If you watch the replay up to this point, hashtag Gur Mondays, so I know that you guys are here chilling out. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.